Very
All right,
good.
so Grant, first let's get your opinion on the record here. I know you've talked about it on your show and you've been tweeting, et cetera. But the Nats kind of surprise people, those of us that are casual observers of the MLB Draft. We all assume it was going to be the Holiday kid or the Anderson kid, and they kind of, an outsider for us, but a kid that was fifth ranked. He was like in the MLB program or whatever, like Team USA or whatever he was at like 14 or 15, co-MVP. So he's been in the mix of elite players for his age group. He's the youngest kid in the draft. They draft Eli Willits at 1. My understanding is you love the pick.
Love it. Yeah, absolutely. This was the guy I wanted them to take. I didn't think they would because there were two pretty famous celebrity players available that were a lot easier to take.
Yeah.
And frankly, two guys that were safer, right? Everybody saw Kate Anderson, LSU lefty, on national television, throw a complete game shutty in the College World Series. I mean, he is an easy player to select and then watch move fast. I mean, he would be in the big leagues by the end of next season. The other option would have been, as you guys know, Ethan Holiday. It's the first family of baseball at this point. I mean, and the guy who has got the most power upside in the class. But there is some question about him that doesn't get brought up a lot, which is he's got some swing and miss, and there are concerns about handling velocity, which he didn't do a great job with on the showcase circuit. There's definitely a chance he ends up being really, really good. There's no doubt about that. Mm-hmm. But he's not going to stay at shortstop. He's huge. He's at best going to be a third baseman. I actually think there's a better chance he plays in the corner outfield. So when you're drafting players, as you guys know, the more value is up the middle, premium defenders, right? If you can play short, even if you're not quite as good offensively, if you can play center, that's way more valuable to a team. It's very rare. Most guys can't play those two positions. Eli Willits, the youngest player in the draft class, is absolutely going to stay at shortstop. So that's the number one reason why I liked him. Number two is, and this is just my own proclivity, it's bat-to-ball skills. This is a hit tool guy, so you're talking about being able to hit for average, talking about being able to get on base, not swing and miss a whole lot. It's a crapshoot anytime you draft a high schooler, and especially when you draft a 17-year-old. You are playing the lottery here. But this is someone who is going to be a plus runner, a plus defender, and has the chance. I mean, everyone keeps saying he's not going to have power. I think ultimately it's probably going to be like 17 to 20 home runs in the big leagues. But if he's hitting 280 and stealing 30 bags and playing good shortstop, that's a really, really valuable player. And the last thing I'll say really quickly is they were able to save some money on this pick that they use later. People act like that's cheap or the learners like choosing not to spend at all. No, you just use the money on later picks, and they ended up having a banner third through fifth round.
Well, let me ask you a question then. And I think I know the answer because learners don't like to spend money. But C.J. Abrams is their shortstop. He's 24 years old. Okay, once his deal is up, let's just say he gets better and better and better, they want to keep C.J. Abrams. Well, in 3 or 4 years, Willits might be ready to come up. You can't play them both. What do they do?
Well, by then, you would move C.J. Abrams off shortstop. I mean, the sneaky...
Where are you going to put him?
You can play him at second. Depending on how he's moving or running at that point, you could play him at third. The center field. I mean, but first of all, I would tell you right now, he's a below-average defensive shortstop as it is. Now, I'm not saying they should move C.J. Abrams, but if they were let's say they were a real organization that spent money.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you could go get an actual defensive shortstop, and they're the worst defensive infield in baseball. One of the worst defensive teams in baseball and have been for years. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons for that is Abrams, who I would re-sign today because he's an offensive star and should be an all-star, is not a good defender. Now, it should be okay to have him at shortstop as an athlete, and then you're just better defensively than they've been at third, where Brady House has actually been a gigantic upgrade. The problem for them is they have 4 below-average defenders. Nathaniel Lowe, who's regressed substantially this year on defense at first. Garcia, who's a terrible defensive player at second.
Always has been.
And then their third base position, with Jose Tena and, everyone other than Paul DeYoung, they've played there this year essentially. Before Brady House, that position's been a disaster. So this is the worst infield defense in the sport. So I worry less about that because, we're talking about like 2028, 2029. And Abrams isn't even under contract at that point. I hope they re-sign him. He's not a Boris guy, but there's no guarantee they're going to do that.